So this is a real-time composition session in Maschine and using the hardware very much focused on that. It's a really interesting one because I start off with one particular vibe and it veers off on a tangent into another. So it's a very realistic look at composition using Maschine. And who knows, you might learn some things along the way. So I'm just going to drop in at the very beginning now. First thing I'm going to do is load up an instrument. I want a piano, so I'm going to push browse. And you can see we're at the projects level at the moment. I need to move this over and we're going to go to instruments. This is where we can get the collection of the complete instruments that I've got. I've got complete 9. The New York Grand is highlighted at the moment. I'm just going to show you here potentially. It could be looking something like this. So that's all of the instruments in the complete library. And what I'm going to do is just once again navigate over here. So we're going through the list of the instruments. There's a Berlin Grand, which is a lovely grand piano. But in this case, I'm going to go for that New York Grand. So there we go. Got various options on the right hand side, but I'm just going to load up this standard concert grand. Now, if I take it out of browse mode, we've only got a single pad that is playing the instrument. So we need to go to pad mode and then push keyboard. And instantly now, we've got the notes that we can trigger from the pad. But one of the new things with the recent update on Maschine was the fact that we can map this to certain musical scales. So in fact, let me just get away from the chord section, come on to scales here, and we've got variations. And this is fantastic because if you're not a musician, this is something that's going to give you that musician kind of sound, instantly understanding which notes to play in, for example, the blues scale. So that's it, really easy, and it's great to have this mode available for playing in. The notes are placed correctly into the editor as well when you record them, so it's really nice. You can go and export those, go and use them, Ableton, whatever it is you're going to do. But I'm focusing on just Maschine in this video. So that's available, and what I'm going to do in fact is I'm going to take it off the scale. I'm going to go to the chord mode. So this is where we've got a variety of different presets. Basically, if you go here, so look, we've got the chord set or you've got the harm mode. So this is kind of like single chords, so one finger chords. So I can go all the way over here. So, it's easy getting that chord vibe going, but I'm going to go for the chord sets. These are probably being absolutely rinsed at the moment. Loads of people using these. There is a very nice one at the end of the list, this minor 8, and so they're all there. And what I want to do is play around with these. That's quite nice. So I'm starting off with music, and I'm going to build some beats around these. So alright, I'm going to vary that a little bit. So basically pushing the pattern button, triggering this to load up a pattern. This is 1 bar in length, which is too short for me. I'm going to go for maybe... I'm going to go for 4. So that's what I was doing before. So this little... So that's the kind of vibe. So let's see how that comes out. So shift and record. So you saw what I did there. I wanted to get a little variation. I didn't want that to be just literally the same chord pattern repeating all the time. I created an extended section on one of those chords to add some variety. So I like the sound of that. I'm just going to quantize it. So shift plus quantize. Just going to tighten up those notes. I'm going to have a listen again. Yeah, that's great. So that's working. So that's the starting point. So I'm just thinking, I want to add an effect actually. I just had a feeling that something might work. I'm going to move over here, add this as an insert. So shift plus browse. And I just want to add a little bit of movement to it. Some kind of, maybe some subtle phasing So I'm loading this up, and I'm going to take the mix down a little bit. Let's have a listen. Now you'll be hearing the movement of the phaser, and that's running on an LFO. You can see here LFO sync, and that's set over here. Now I want to change that. It felt too fast for me. It's tempo synchronized, and let me see how that feels now. Slower. Yeah, I like that. That's working. So it's a starting point. It may not be how I end up with this. All right. So that's basically the first musical element. So it's a chord that's been generated by going into the pad mode, going to the chord set, selecting type minor 8. And whilst I'm here, I'm just going to show you something. If you really want to play around with it, you can do this. You've got the octaves and then semitones. So I could have done something like that. So you got. And just a little tip, you can actually do that in real time whilst you're recording, and it will go into the editing screen. So you actually can get some variations that are beyond these preset lists. So that's something to play around with. Okay, that's cool. And what I'm going to do, I don't know, do you know, I've got a funny instinct on something again. You know, I get these random things coming along sometimes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place another effect on here. Who knows, this might work. So browse. I'm going to go for the filter. And this is a low pass filter. And what I want to do is add some modulation. So, okay, let's just take a look over here. So I'm going to go for the modulation amount. Let's tempo synchronize this. So LFO sync. Let's just speed that up. Okay, I like that. Maybe I won't have that all the time. So what I could do is in fact use the cutoff to provide the variation. So that's normal. And then I just bring this down. So if I wanted to get some nice variation throughout the track, so it's not all just static chords, I could do something like that. So I could record that in and some variations later. All right. How am I feeling about that tempo? I'm not sure. That feels a little slow. I'm going to take it up to maybe about 124. Click on. Okay, that's cool. Let me get my beat down. So I'm going to basically go to another group and go to browse, and I'm going to load up something. So this time onto groups, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to load a kit. All right, so let's go to products. The Prospect Haze stuff I'm really into at the moment. So let me just have a feel, have a play around with some of these. Let me just, firstly, this is all the musical stuff, right? So let's just go to kits, urban kit, and let's have a look. Okay, so it didn't catch some of my swung hits that I was putting in there. So what I'm going to need to do is get in and have a look at the editing here. Now, I'm really focusing on the hardware today. And what I need to do is to take a look, and it was this sound, I believe. And it blatantly missed out. It could have been my playing, that's for sure. So we're going to go to select, and what we're going to do is going to go to events. And now what we've got is, let me just lock this, by the way. So this, if you can push this button, it pins the current selection. So we're going to be looking at the events, and so what we've got is specific events. Now if I adjust this, it's going to go through the list. Now my first one I feel was a little bit out, so I'm going to adjust my position and I'm going to listen. That's better. That's more like what I intended. So actually the second one doesn't sound quite right either. Let's bring that back. And maybe, right, so the third one's good. Fourth one, I might take a bit later. Yeah, that's good. But I'm not happy with the velocity, so what I'm going to do is select them all, bring them all up. Let's select none. And the reason why I selected none is because if I go and do something else later, it means it's going to apply it to everything. So it's better to be safe. And so that's there. Okay, so yeah, that did the same. So let me just take a look again. So we're going to go to select events, going to pin that, and going to go through the event list. And I'm not sure where it was. It was somewhere around here in terms of working out which is the right one. Just going to move this one over and see how that feels. Do you know what? I'm going to leave that. That's pretty good. So let's select none of those events again. Take the pinning off, and I need some more elements. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm just jamming, adding bits. Right, did it again. That's a bit annoying. So let me just get onto this one. So I need to adjust. So the event there, that was basically wrong. Just bringing that bit earlier. I wonder if it was about here. Interestingly, I'm missing that snare on the second time round, so I'm going to record that in. Now, what I like to do once I've got a beat down is to think, okay, well, I've just programmed it with this kit, but maybe it would sound better on another one. So I'm just going to flip to another, see how it feels. Obviously, that kit's a lot louder. Bear that in mind. Yeah, interesting. I think I actually prefer the one I had at the beginning. So what was that, AstroTurf kit? Yeah, it's got more of a kind of raw kind of drum kitty kind of vibe to it. I don't know why I'm sort of leaning towards that at the moment, but it feels like it's kind of working. So yeah, I'm going to go with that, but I'm feeling I want to just flip it up a little bit. So this kit, this sound here, I want to get a replacement for that. I want to get a clap. So I'm going to go to browse, and we're going to go to samples this time. And let me just come over to types, drums. We're going to go on to clap, and let's have a listen, see what we got. Now something weird is going on with volume, so what I'm wondering is that at the group level there may be some effect that's been added. So taking a look over it, right, the maximizer, I'm just going to say shift and bypass. So the maximizer was being applied to the drum group, and I noticed that because I was thinking to myself, right, my velocity was constant on my clap, but there were volume variations. So that wasn't because of my velocity, because that was definitely 127 max. What I was hearing was a volume fluctuation. So that's a clue that there's some dynamic processing going on over the whole group. Now this could make it sound a lot worse, because maybe we like the sound of that because of the actual processing. So this can be quite funny. Just going to solo that one. First thing to note is that the volume of the group is a lot louder. That makes sense. Let's bring it down. So you can hear now that the volume is constant. Okay, so we've got the clap is at an even level, and that makes sense because that was my programming. So bear in mind when you're actually running with beats, if you've got processing going on, so dynamic processing, a compressor, a limiter, a maximizer in this case, it will be affecting the sound. So it's got a nice clean punchiness to it. Let me bring the piano back. Sorry, I'm soloing this one. Let me turn it off. And oh, there we go. So that sounds pretty cool. What else am I going to do? Yeah, I've got no idea. Feeling that I need to get some kind of bass thing going on, so C, and we're going to browse, and we're going to go to instruments again. So up here, and I want to go to, just thinking to myself, okay, yeah, there's a bass sound I like on Razor. You guys might have seen me using this on other things, bass, and it's down here, it's the Barnaby bass, which has got that real kind of nice old school kind of flavor to it. So it's just loading up. These reactor instruments do take a little bit longer to load, and it's gone to sound. We can play around with some of the parameters if we want to. There's the sound itself, once again pad mode keyboard, and what we want to do is take it down the octave, so pad mode down. Don't know what I'm hearing here. What I tend to do, because I'm not particularly, I'm not musically trained, everything is just done by ear. What I tend to do is try to identify notes that I think are working. So I spotted those two. But there was another note that was below the pad range here, so I can't deal with that at the moment. So I tend to record things in bits sometimes if there's not enough of a range in terms of notes on the pad. So what I would do, just going to simulate this, and then I go down, there, so back up, and then back up again. They're the notes that I want, so I'm going beyond the range of the pads by using the octave plus and minus. Something like that. So I'll tell you what, I'll try and record that in. Probably going to make a real mess up of this. I knew it straight away. So what I'll do, I'll get these down first. Imagine that I'm going to put that in. So the other thing I want to do is make this a 4-bar pattern. So let me just go down here, down an octave. Here's this one, let's get that in. Now what I'm thinking is that the events on there, so I'm going to do select, pin this again. One of those notes wasn't quite right. Just trying to think which one it was. So you know what, I've just forgotten how to do the musical events. Oh, do you know what? I'm going to have to just do it on the screen. That's so annoying. So I'm moving it over. I'll show you on the, what I'll do is I'll highlight this. Whoa, no. Just this note, please. So I'm moving it over. I want to make it matching the piano. And whilst I'm here, let me just extend this, so make it constant, because there's another thing, you know, consistency is pretty important in terms of the timing. So the note lengths, things can end up sounding a bit weird if you've got too many variations. The other thing is that maybe this is all sounding a little bit too high. Maybe that would be better in the lower octave. I'm not sure. So what I'm going to do, just going to select all, and then what I want to do is take these down. So instantly I'm feeling that actually not all of these want to go lower. It's only a certain note, which is this one. So I'm going to move that one down. So that's F2. Let's take that down to F1. So I'm just feeling that actually now these are long notes. This is a monophonic synth, so I'm getting limited in terms of what I can do because of those durations. So if we go back onto select events, and if we take the length down on that one, these are all things you need to consider, you know. So basically there only one note can play at once on that particular sound. it was a long note, when I tried to play new melodic elements on top, they wouldn't work because only one could play at once. So that's why I shortened the length of that particular longer note. So I'm trying to think about some kind of little fills. So there we go. So that's a concept, literally. You saw what I did, step by step. First, putting down notes that I thought sounded good, adjusting the lengths, and then filling in the gaps with other notes. All right. I'm not saying that I love this at the moment. I'm going to bring that down a bit. Let's have a listen. Okay, it's all right. So let me think about something else. I feel that it's missing some energy on the drums, maybe. So it's almost like I need to get back to another group, and this time I'm going to come away from the Prospect Haze kits and just go for all of these. Let me try some other textures. Got no idea on some of these kits where on earth they're coming from in the Maschine library. Let me just focus on certain styles. Oh, okay, there we go. It was just categorizing with the urban sounds. Maybe a 909. Maybe let's go and you know what, that whole kit is incredibly loud. So D, bring the volume down. So starting to layer a few things in. Let me listen to the timing of that. That cut doesn't sound quite right there. Yeah, I need to get that swing back on. Why has that gone from there? That's really weird. Maybe I didn't put swing on. What am I doing? Let's have a look. Now, what's happened is something was going on with my programming of my beats here. Let me just do something. I must have missed something along the way. I'm just going to set all of those beats, going to re-quantize them, and these should now all be getting this swing. You know what it is? I'm so used to putting swing on, and I forgot about it, and I assumed that swing was on there. Yeah, I'm not happy with my beats here. Solo. It seems as if there's there is some kind of weird thing going on with the timing there. So let me just have a look on the screen here. All the positioning looks absolutely fine. I wonder if something is going on somewhere else that's causing this. Yeah, so there was some swing automatically being applied at the group level, which I have taken off. That seems to be making more sense now. So that's the thing about using pre-made kits. You know, they may have some settings. If we just go through these, so you can see, for example, here that at the group level there is no groove, no swing being applied, but on that kit it had it automatically on there, which is really interesting. I hadn't noticed that before. So let's have a look. So this is where I start to go off on a tangent. You know, I'm not really feeling the piano at the moment, but it was a good demonstration of the concepts of the new chord thing. And I think when you're composing, you know, sometimes you kind of get a gut instinct whether something's working or not. I'm actually really enjoying the beat. I'm not enjoying the bass and the chords so much. And what I'm thinking is if I flipped out that kit now, potentially with another one from the Prospect Haze library, this could be quite interesting. So I'm just going to do that now and see what happens. A little bit loud there. Let me just turn it down my side. It probably sounded loud your side. Let's have a look. Actually, I really like that. There's a rawness going on that I think is really working. I'm going to take that off. Okay, now I'm going to make a call on this sound, and I'm just going to basically replace it. All right, so I'm going to turn it into something different. So I'm just going to get rid of all this stuff, and I'm going to go to pattern, just going to delete, so that's all gone. And I want to take the actual instrument and do something different with it. So instead, what I want to do is I want to have this so that instead of the grand piano that we've got here, that we use something else. So instead of this, just going to do shift and remove, just going to take it out, take off the effects. So we didn't get to see that LFO filter modulation on the piano. It's kind of a shame, but nothing we can do about that. So let's take off the chord set. Let's get the keyboard back, chromatic. And I'm going to load up something different. I'm going to go for a sample, and I'm going to go for, so through the library, let's come out a second. I wonder if we go to Prospect Haze, there are some really nice one shots. If we go to chord, let's have a listen. Something else is going on at the moment. It's stopping it. Let me just load it and just double check. It may be something to do with the way that I removed stuff before. I just need to have a look. Have I got a mute on? That's it. Okay, so back in business, and don't like that. One of the things about this is that it's playing a long note there. If I take that one shot down and go to ADSR, Okay, just checking my levels. I got so carried away. This is one of the things that annoys me. If any of you guys know how to deal with this, let me know. So what I had was a vibe. I was getting into it. I had basically a 4-bar or 2-bar pattern, but when I pressed record, it defaulted to 1. It's probably a global setting, to be honest, so it's probably my fault. So I'm going to go back to pattern, set this up. I've forgotten what it was I was doing. Okay, so this is more vibey now. So pattern, I'm going to go for 4-bar. Let me bring up that bass. so that's it. And you know, doing this as one continuous session is pretty hard work when the camera's running. So I'm gonna just basically stop for the moment, and that's going to be about it for this video, and possibly I'll get a chance to do a follow-up. But what I wanted to do was to show you a selection of different things you can do with the Maschine hardware. And also I love the idea that this is kind of like a real thing, and you've seen over the progression of the video that it started off as one idea but then totally radically changed it into something else. And that very, very often happens. Someone like myself, for every track that you hear, there's usually about 10 ideas that get scrapped. So don't be hard on yourselves when you're making music. If you're doing a similar thing, it happens to a lot of us. And you know, hopefully there would have been something you could have gained from this. You can see clearly that I'm not an expert on Maschine, so there's still some things for me to remind myself about. But it's my own fault because I keep flipping between all of these different applications, and I have a short attention span. So anyway, have a play around, try and get some ideas down yourselves, and see what happens. You know, I'm really finding Maschines a lot of fun, and I think, you know, if I'm honest, I've got to get some practice in, that's for sure.